Welcome back, Outlaws. On today's episode, we're going to be doing an unboxing and first use of this Ninja FOODI air fryer. We're going to put it all together, and at the end, we'll cook a little something up. So stay tuned. Lady Outlaw and myself had been looking at these for several years now. We have other Ninja products and we're happy with those, so when we came across this one at a price we couldn't refuse, we had to jump on it. These can be found in the store from anywhere from about $150 to $200. Before we open this up and take it out of the box, let's check out some of the features that it shows on the box. It's got dual cooking zones and 2 ways to finish your food. Turning it around on this side, it's got the 2 baskets for each zone, both made out of a non-stick surface, which make them extremely easy to clean. Between the 2 baskets, you have an 8-quart cooking capacity. This will allow for some versatility in cooking different types of food. It even has a dehydrate function. One of the features that I really like are these 2 separate baskets here, so you could cook 2 different types of food at 2 different temperatures and 2 different time settings. Having the dual zones and the 2 separate cooking baskets is really a handy feature because it would allow you to cook a whole meal and have it be completed at the same time. Without any further procrastination, let's get this thing opened up. This looks like a quick cheat sheet on the 2 finish settings. Well, there's not much to unpack here, just the instructions and the unit itself. It was actually pretty well packed. Let's start by first checking out the destruction package. After we get the plastic off, let's pull all these out and check them out. This here is a small little quick cookbook with recipes in it. It's got 2 simple recipes in there. It'd be pretty fun to try out for your first time. This is a little bit larger of a cookbook with recipes in it and some tips. The one that I'm really looking for, though, is the owner's manual, which is this one, which will go into a little bit more depth and detail on how to set your timers and what settings to use for what food. Now we can review these a little bit later. Now let's get this thing checked out. Looks like we've got packing tape holding the baskets closed on either side, so we'll get that taken off. Let's slide this basket open and see what it looks like inside. Looks like we have a piece of cardboard here for packing that holds the crisper rack in place in the bottom of the basket there to keep it from moving around. This is all non-stick surface, so it should be pretty easy to clean. The venting in this rack should allow the airflow to come up from beneath and help cook the food from the bottom. As I expected, looks like we have the same thing on the other side to hold the crisper rack in place. The other thing these crisper racks are great for is keeping your food up off the bottom of the basket where all the oil and grease collects. That way your food is not sitting in a puddle of grease while it's cooking, and it's easy to separate and pour out later. There are two different types of cooking modes on this unit. This one here is the Smart Finish mode, which will allow you to cook different types of food at different temperatures and different times. In the Smart Finish mode, you would pick your function that you wanted to cook, and then you would go ahead and figure out which temperature you wanted to use, and you would set that, and then figure out your time and set that. In the Match Cook mode, for instance, if you were going to cook 2 big baskets of fries, you would set them in at the same temperature and the same time, and they would finish at the same time. With the Smart Finish mode, you can get a little more creative and versatile with your settings and your times and the types of food that you're cooking. Let's give this thing a quick spin and give it the 360. Seems to be pretty well ventilated. It has this vent that goes around the entire top, and then on the back you can see more venting here. Overall, the unit seems to be pretty well built and should last quite a long time. The other thing I like is when you slide these baskets in, they seem to give a pretty good secure click. Now let's pick something quick and easy to give this thing a quick test. I'm not a gourmet cook, so I'm not going to be cooking up a fancy meal with this. I just want to throw something in there, heat it up, and see how it performs. The booklets that come with these are pretty helpful. They have a lot of neat guides that show you the cooking times and what you should do for each piece of food you want to cook. I did think I saw something on here that will work, and it happens to be tater tots. We're going to give tater tots a try. Since I'm going to be using both baskets to cook 2 different types of food, it gives you 2 different cooking times. One cooking time for using 1 basket and one for using 2. We're going to start with about a pound of tater tots. I also decided to try a thawed out frozen hamburger as an experiment. Some foods require that you add a little bit of oil to help them cook. That's what I'm doing here. I'm going to put a little oil on both sides of this patty to help it cook better. I'm using plastic or nylon tongs so that I don't scratch the non-stick surface of the baskets. Since I'll be cooking two different types of food, I'll be using the smart mode for the finish. I'm going to go ahead and check the temperatures that I need, get that set up. I'm going to go ahead and set the time that's needed for the tater tots. Keeping in mind I'm going to be using both baskets, so I'll use the longer time to set that up. Next, we'll set up basket 2 here with the burger in it. After pushing the number 2 for the basket 2, I'm going to go ahead and hit air fry again. I'm going to set the temperature that I want, which happens to be 390. It's already in there. And I'll go ahead and put the time that I want for the hamburger to cook. I'll hit smart mode one more time, hit start, and away we go. You may notice that the times have changed now. I accidentally hit the power button instead of the pause button. You need to hit the pause button every time you want to check or open the drawer. That stops your time, so it will resume when you put it back in to start cooking again. With a little more practice, I'm sure I'll get this thing figured out. It was my fault for pushing the wrong button to begin with. I'm sure everything will turn out just fine anyway. Let's pause this right here and check everything out. Give these a quick stir. Move them around a little bit. They seem to be doing pretty good. And let's check this burger out here. And it's time to flip this thing over. Let's go ahead and flip this over. And we're going to go ahead and push it to the back a little bit. Now that basket number 2 that has the burger in it is done, it goes into cool mode. This lasts for about 30 seconds. Let's pull this thing open and see what we got going on here. And it looks like it's done. It's still sizzling. I know. I could have been a little more creative with what I decided to cook in this thing for the first time. But in reality, this is probably what I'm going to be cooking in it. And just for the first time, I thought this would be a good experiment. Time to check on these tater tots. Those look just right. It doesn't look like there's going to be much cleanup on this side. We'll see about the other side. Let's check these things out. Nice and crispy. I was surprised at the amount of grease that you could see right here down in the bottom of this one. This we'll have to clean out with a paper towel. And these are both washer safe as well if you want to put them in your dishwasher. I'm glad all the grease is in the bottom of that pan instead of in this burger that I'm about to eat. I'm sure we'll be getting a lot more creative with this thing and cooking up all kinds of crazy stuff. But for now, this burger and tater tots will work just fine. If you're still with me at this point of the video, I want to say that I appreciate it and thank you for checking it out.